Mark Curry said they were working on a song titled The Muscle Game. They played a little bit of the clip or the track. Diddy was saying this: "No more Mr. Nice Guy. F with me, I'll drop $1 million on your head. Gonna start making, erase you and your whole family. Start making y'all niggas disappear." I'll be back. Hello folks, welcome back. Those who have returned, subscribers, newcomers, welcome. Thank you so much. So I would like to say, if it wasn't for, what is your name, sweetie? Sis Jolie, I would not be doing this. She left a comment asking for me to do my commentary or do a commentary. I wouldn't have done it. I didn't plan to do it. I have done so many Diddy videos since Cassie lawsuit dropped. I was like, okay, I'm not tripping off of this one. But yeah. So let's get into it. Okay. So this is what I discovered. I was impressed. And I'm not saying that like you need to feel so grateful that I was impressed. No, I was. Because of how 50 Cent come off sometimes, you kind of forget. Well, I forget that he's a shrewd businessman, and whatever, from what I can see, whatever, when it comes to business, he doesn't play. It was an excellent production. I feel that the music that they used went with it. Like, there's a track, I can't play it, but it's by Nat King Cole, called Nature Boy. That track went with Sean Combs and what they were discussing so well. Okay, let's get into this. This was not included in the documentary. I started seeing this after the documentary premiered. It says Sean Diddy Combs is facing intense backlash after a new Netflix documentary revealed he secretly recorded private conversations with his criminal defense attorney, a move legal experts say represents a stunning betrayal of trust and a possible breach of attorney-client privilege. This is what Radar Online reported. I was thinking, when I read the article, I was thinking to myself, and then I'm thinking about the clips of him, because it starts off with him in his hotel room in New York. He's sitting on a sofa near the window, and he's talking on a speakerphone to his attorney. And of course, the film is being recorded. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, why didn't you have him step out the room? So I don't think he thought that through. One of the things I liked about the documentary is they had new, fresh faces. If you saw the other two documentaries they've done, and then all the videos and interviews online or social media, when I saw fresh faces like Eric Sherman, Roxanne Johnson, who is Craig Mack's ex, William Lassane, he is Tupac's cousin, Kirk Burroughs, a couple of jurors from the case, Capricorn Clark. When I saw those new faces, I was like, okay, well, let's see what's up. Now, from the jump, I'm going to say this. There are two people in the doc that I have questions about. One of them is Kirk Burroughs, the person who he said he helped form Bad Boys with Diddy. Diddy told him the idea he had. This is after he got fired from working with Under Harrell. So he shared what his dreams with Kirk Burroughs, and that's how they started Bad Boy. And Kirk Burroughs was the one behind the scene taking care of the business at the record label at Bad Boys. So I have questions about him, Kirk Burroughs, question about the member, Kalania, Dirty Money, and then I forgot Lil Rod. When you listen to their, if you guys have a chance to get on Netflix, I implore you to look at the documentary yourself. But these three individuals, well, you could say Capricorn, they make you scratch your head and wonder. Well, I have questions for every single one, except Cassie. She explained that she did try to escape a few times. They have Diddy allegedly had people watching her, being around her when he wasn't around. When she would leave, he would go find her. So, but the other ones, they didn't say that. He was had people watching him, had people escorting him. They didn't say that. Okay, let's get on with it. I'll express a little bit more when I start talking about each of these individuals. Okay, we're going to start with episode 1, which was titled Pain versus Love. It begins with Sean Combs talking on the speakerphone, as I said, to his legal counsel about strategies, things they can do to combat what was being reported after the Cassie lawsuit dropped. He didn't like what they were doing so far. He felt that they needed to step it up and take more of an aggressive stance on combating the things that was coming out after the Cassie lawsuit. He wasn't happy about it at all. Then it goes to Kalani Harper. She said she gave Sean Combs big ups. She said that if you was around this guy, his energy was just off the chart. His energy caused you to want to be around him. She said she wanted to be like him. And she said for a black man in America, a black American man, he demonstrated a freedom that she never witnessed, never saw another black man have. And she says she had blind loyalty for him. And that I could say that was disturbing and commendable, because not too many people are loyal nowadays, but it was disturbing because you being in a band with him or a group with him, I'm sure you witnessed things that you most likely are not going to share, obviously. I like to know, how does one have that kind of loyalty to someone she admitted didn't help her when she needed, help the most? I want to know, did he ever mistreat her, and did she witness mistreatment? And she also, later on in the documentary, they asked her about the other bandmate. Was her name Dawn? And the lawsuit she filed alleging that she was abused and, they were starved, and just the way she said they were treated in the complaint. And they asked Kalani how she felt about it. She said that she basically, instead, she didn't come out right and say it was bogus, it was lies, but she said enough to say that, she said that she didn't understand where it came from. She said Diddy called her one day, told her about the complaint, and she was like, what? Send it to me, I want to read it. She was like, I have no idea why she did it. So that was a head scratcher. It's like you guys it was 3 of you guys, Diddy, her, and you. So how could she say this happened? And then she said we. I remember hearing parts of the complaint. Dawn said we. And then meaning it happened to her, I'm assuming her and Kalana, but she said she has no idea why it happened, why she filed the suit. So that's a head scratcher to me. And then I believe that if something did happen between them, if Diddy allegedly did do things against them that was sinister, she would never tell. Okay, Aubrey said that Diddy's position in life, it was admirable, but it made him want to control everything, and that was the problem. Eric Sherman said Diddy he said that he compared Diddy to the Scarface movie. He wanted everything in the world. Sherman said he already had everything. Roger Bum, the ex-guard, said the more money Diddy got, the more power he got, the more power he got, the more money he got. And Diddy believed that money got you out of everything. And when you're in that world, it can. Because I don't even think at this point too many people will be surprised at how many people you can buy with money. And sometimes it don't even have to be a lot. Depending on what time of the day it is, if somebody don't have $2 bills to rub together, and you go up to them like, hey, I'm gonna give you $100. Trust. Okay, juror 160 wanted people to know how they reached the verdict. Juror 160 was a woman. She's a black woman. And she said she wanted you guys to know how they reached the verdict, and it's not like the media portrayed. Capricorn Clark said Diddy is a great storyteller. He's a manipulator. And then she said he real tough when it comes. He got high skills. He's very skilled when it comes to retaliation. And she said he's always creating a narrative. He thinks he can do whatever he wants to. Think about it. Okay, here's the thing that I have to say in response to that. When you are around people who know that money changes people's attitude, meaning they're going to treat you a certain way, but when they find out you're rich, they're going to treat you a completely different way, even if they don't like you. And then when you're around people who have billions of dollars, they don't even have to have billions, they can have a lot of millions. You're gonna experience different things in life. Certain policies and rules that apply to regular folks don't apply to them. So they walk around with this attitude like they are gods. So yes, they're gonna feel like they can do whatever they want to do until they get caught. But then they're also what fuels that attitude and feeling and believing that you could do whatever you want to do is because people who are around you allow you to think that way, allow you to act that way. You can do whatever you want to do because they're not going to say anything. They don't want to lose their standing with you. So yes, it works that way. What I witnessed in my personal life, money talks, BS walk. That's a fact. Let's go on. Mark Curry said, you can't keep hurting people and think nothing will happen. It'll all come back on you in a matter of time, which is so true. Co-founder Kirk Burrows said he helped Diddy create Bad Boys, like I said initially. He talked a little bit about Diddy's background that we've heard before. Sean wanted to be a part of the music business, and he did whatever he needed to do and to get into the music business. Now, like I said, there's some things that stood out to me about Burrows that made me wrinkle my eyebrows, but I will speak on those later. I'll Be Sure said I'll Be Sure was he was the dude when he first came out. I remember when he first came out, his album dropped, and then you saw how he looked. It was like, oh my God, this man is fine. I didn't think his voice was all that. I didn't care about his voice. It was how he looked. Of course, he dated Kim. He said when Diddy first saw Kim, the way Albie felt about Kim, he said Diddy took it to a whole different level. He said he would go to her desk every day. And Diddy told Burrows that he was going to get Kim. And Burrows said Sean wasn't the one. But Diddy didn't care. He knew he was going to get Kim. Now check this out. Kirk described how Diddy pursued a connection with Harrell. He wanted to get close to Harrell to get into the music industry. Check out what he said. He said Sean made himself available to Harrell. Whatever Harrell needed, he was there. This is what he said that made me think about the Bling book. He said that when Sean let Harrell know, he wasn't saying it like this was said to him, but I guess he was just speculating and putting his own input into what he observed. He said Harrell was like, could have been like, Sean wants to advance in the music industry, But if he does that, who's going to get my clothes? Who's going to put armor oil on my tires? If you checked out the 3 vids I've done on the Bling book, you know why I told y'all to check out how Kirk described the way Harrell began to rely on combs. Plus, you'll discover who is who in the Bling book. Let's move on. His ex-best friend said, Tim Dog said, Sean was like a son to Harrell. Harrell was the first example of what a man was. Sean didn't learn right from wrong from his father like Tim said he learned from his dad. He said Mama Combs was a boss in her own right. This is what Tim Dog said. She rolled around the block making stops. She always rolled around in a brand new Cadillac. She would roll around the block in Harlem making stops. She would just park her car in the middle of the street, leave it running. He said nobody touched it. He said Sean grew up on black exploitation movies. What they saw in the movies, Sean saw in real life within his home. So now, we've heard stories of how he grew up, and now you get a concept of what kind of mentality this guy had. He had a street mentality. He had, even though he wasn't street, he still grew up around street folks. They were in his house. They partied with his mom. And that's where, it was ingrained in him as a child. Either he was going to be the type that walked away from that and created his own path, or he was going to follow it because he thought that that's how he needed to be to get the respect that I guess he wanted or felt he needed. Tim Dog said that Sean would get beatings that made him scared. Tim Dog said he got his ass beat by his parents, but the beatings that Sean got were on a whole different level. He said he toughened up a lot in the streets. He stepped up when it came to defending himself. He said Sean had regular fights where he would bite people's ears off or rip skin from their necks with his bare teeth. That was some viciousness right there. That homeboy needed an exorcism. I'm all for defending yourself. Of course, you got to do whatever you got to do. If somebody got the upper hand and, you feel like your life might be taken from you or you might be hospitalized, then you got to do whatever you got to do. Tim Dog didn't describe it like, I seen him in a cup. Yeah, if he didn't do this, that, and they would have took him out. He didn't describe it like that. So it seemed like whenever this dude got into a fight, something took him over. Something dark and vicious took him over. Then it goes into Joy Dickerson. Joy Dickerson is a woman who filed a lawsuit against Diddy, alleging that he assaulted her. She was talking about how she met him. She went to a party with a friend, and Puff announced that he was having a party at Harrell's house. Harrell was out of town. So she ended up going to the party, and she said it rained that day, and it was like a lot of mud that the guests tracked into the house on the floor. And she stayed around when the party was ending to help Puff clean it up. She said he was so gracious. He thanked her. Diddy asked her if she wanted to be a part of a video for a track that he was doing titled Straight from the Soul. And she said she don't do vids, but she needed a ride back to New Jersey. And that's how she ended up in the video, wearing the same clothes that she wore at the party. She said that sometime later, it got back to her. She's the one who said that a male friend of hers hit her up and told her that Diddy was circulating a video of him, assaulting her on camera. She didn't know until this was told to her. She said one day she was asleep and she would wake up screaming. She would wake up out of her sleep screaming, and her mother overheard her like, "What's going on? Why are you waking up out of your sleep screaming?" She said it was because of Diddy. And the mother was like, "Who is this Diddy? And what happened?" So she ended up telling her mother what happened, what she was told that happened to her. So the mother composed a letter. She wrote it to Diddy's mom, Janice Combs, telling her Diddy allegedly did to her daughter, and that Diddy was showing the video around. And she said, basically, Janice was like, what do you like? I don't remember. She said Janice was like, "What do you want me to do about it?" But basically, she got nothing. Nothing was resolved by Joy's mother contacting Diddy's mother. So she says she went around asking people for help. She told them what she found out, and she was asking people to help her, and she said nobody helped her. Nobody wanted to do anything about it. Either they didn't want to do anything about it, or they told her if they helped her, they wouldn't be able to get into his parties. Wow. Can you believe that? These are allegations, of course, but can you believe if you're going around telling people about something serious that happened to you, and they tell you, well, damn, if I help you, I'm not going to be able to hang with him no more. You be like, I will punch. Okay, let's go on. So, who said that? I don't know if it was Tim Dog said it or Kirk said it. But he said that Alpo, the drug dealer, used to do the same thing. Well, Diddy got it from Alpo. He would film girls unbeknownst to them, and he would show people or whoever he hung out with, he would show them the videos. So these are the people that Sean apparently or allegedly emulated, these street guys. She said, Joy Dickerson said that years later, she saw Diddy and he got on his knees and exclaimed that he didn't do what he was accused of doing. She said that sometime after that she was in Times Square and she saw this big billboard of Diddy and she literally threw up. Then they revisited the college tragedy, the stampede. They showed clips of this, the aftermath. Then they showed an interview where Sean said that he became famous because of a tragedy. And it just makes you think about things that people in the industry reveal that, you have to do some things to get where you need to be. And when he made that statement, it was like, yeah, you think about it. There are multiple things that happened in your life that was not good. That was a tragedy. The club shooting and other things, that the stampede. And then it seemed like you got more famous. That was dark. How do you get famous off of people's lives being lost or being severely injured? That's crazy. Ritual and sacrifices. That's how I saw it. Kirk shared something that he witnessed after the stampede. He said that Combs or Diddy was in a hotel room and his mom was there with him. And he said that the mother was concerned about things that had been happening, and she asked Sean if he made the right decision, meaning not going to college, and then she's just seeing incident after incident. Burroughs said that Sean put his hands on his mom, called her a B, and slapped the dog-ish out of her. He didn't say Sean slapped the dog-ish out of her. I put that in there. But I'm sure that's what he did. So I was thinking to myself, this is one of the things that bothers me about Kirk Burrow. He said that Sean, when he had his first son, he asked Kirk to be the godfather. He said he was a little bothered about it and he had to consider it. He had to really think about it because of the things that he witnessed Sean do. He wasn't too comfortable being the godfather, but he said one of the things he witnessed was the other act of violence he witnessed was when Sean put his hands on Misha, and you know how bad they said he beat her, right? So when Sean asked him to be the godfather of his son, what he did to Misha came to his mind, and that was one of the things that had him wondering, do I want to do this? But he said the way he brushed it off and went ahead and became the godfather of Diddy's first child was he was like, well, maybe he was having a bad day. So here's my thing. Prior to him saying that, he was really considering being Sean's child's godfather, was what Sean did to Misha. But I'm like, dude, you just told us you was in a hotel room when he put his hands on his birth mother. And then the next alleged act of violence you witnessed was him putting his hands on his son's mother. So you went ahead and brushed it off and was like, okay, well, he was having a bad day when he put his hands on Misha, but you forgot about what you said you saw him do to his mother? And that didn't come to your mind? Like, it's beyond a bad day, dude. Okay, did he have a bad day with his mother too? Well, he was dealing with the stampede, but I'm just saying, it ain't that many bad days to justify hitting your mom. And then you see him put his hands on another woman. I'm sure that's not the only woman you've seen or heard about. So my thing is this with Burroughs, is this a case where one was worse than the other? Or does it just show what Kirk was willing to overlook to get what he wanted? That could be applied to all of them. What were you willing to overlook to get what you wanted? After that, they were talking about how Jodeci got put on with Harrell, and Sean was assigned to developing Jodeci. Sean was the one who created their entire image. Burroughs said Harrell told Sean that the artist didn't matter. Sean was more important. Sean was the machine behind Mary's success. Hip hop soul was her. So if it's true that Harrell told Sean that the artist doesn't matter and he's more important, now you understand why it's been alleged that Sean didn't pay his artist, because was told that he's more important than them. Is that why a lot of labels and executives don't pay their artists? Because they, in their mind, they're more important than them. But it's like you wouldn't have one without the other. What good has been a record label owner or an executive if you don't have artists? So it goes hand in hand. So then Eric Sherman comes on the scene. Eric Sherman from EPMD. He's explaining how he and Sean got hooked up. He said that Puff asked Sherman to be on Mary's track. Eric Sherman found out that Diddy was a huge EPMD fan. And after that, they became friends, so he thought. He said it's not till he was around Combs long enough, he peeped out Sean's game and saw that Diddy had an ulterior motive, and the ulterior motive was Misa, because Eric Sherman and Misa were friends. That's how Diddy met Misa. Kirk said that Sean wanted Misa because Sherman had Misa, or he assumed that Misa was Sherman's girl. And at that time, Eric Sherman, EPMD, was the guy. According to Kirk, any man who was that guy, Diddy wanted a piece of him. Wanted a piece of whatever that guy had. But Sherman and Misa were just friends. But Sean wanted, when he got with Misa, he wanted Sherman's relationship with Misa to be completely over. Kirk went on to say that Harrell and Sean couldn't work together, and that when Sean got the boot, he started doing his own thing. That was Bad Boy. But Harrell told Sean that he could have Biggie. Before Bad Boy started, you had Death Row on the west side or west coast. So Death Row Records was giving them a run for their money. Death Row Records was popping. Diddy said that he was tired of doing Jodeci and Mary, and he wanted to do, street music. He wanted to be like Cali. They began Bad Boy. Sean gave Kirk 25% ownership. Janice was given 75% ownership, and Sean put everything in Janice's name. He didn't want anything in his name just in case things went down. It wouldn't be taken from him. He wouldn't, because he didn't own anything. Burroughs said he was the grease that kept the wheels lubricated. And he said Sean was only gangster on paper. Now that I think about it, when I was putting the notes together for this documentary, it seemed like the documentary was really about Kirk Burroughs. That's what I'm thinking. Eric Sherman said he and Misha were chilling in his truck one day. He said they were just talking when all of a sudden he heard a knock on his window, and it's Sean. And then he said that Sean tried to swing on him, on Eric Sherman. And he couldn't believe that Sean was trying to get gangster with him. So he was like, oh, you want this? He said to Diddy, let's go around the block. Yes, he didn't want too many witnesses. So he said when they got around the block, Sean let Eric hear Biggie Smalls' track. And that was that. So they didn't have a fight. I thought that was a little strange. It was like, did you realize that you was effing up? So it's like, ooh, I shouldn't put my hands on Sherman, or maybe I might get my ass beat. So, well, hold up, Sherman. Okay, I want you to hear this track. I mean, it was just like, he didn't give any details as to why they didn't have a fight. He just said, Sherman, Diddy asked Sherman to listen to the track. It was just like, okay, well, I guess we got to speculate on our own. So let's go to episode 2, and that's called What Goes Down Must Come Up. Episode 2 begins with Tupac's cousin, William Lasan, and it's describing how he feels Diddy's state of mind is. Well, state of mind was prior to him being arrested and going to prison. He said, Diddy is in all this turmoil, but he's not thinking about what he did wrong. He's thinking or trying to get himself out of it. William said he always saw Diddy as this guy from Harlem who wanted to be famous and with no violence in him. He said, but every time he looked around, he was involved in something violent. Puff wanted to work with Tupac, but Pop wasn't feeling it. Pac was more interested in working with Biggie. Then he went in to describe what happened at Quad's studio. He said he had to rethink how everything went down. And he said Pac was vilified and Puff was exalted. He said that's a story that hasn't been told. And I was thinking, I wish he had went further into what he said but didn't say. He said that's a story that should be looked into, how Puff was exalted and Pac was vilified. Me personally, I guess most of us know why Pac was vilified, because Pac, I believe, had a true desire to help his people. He went about it the way he thought was best. Diddy was the type that, he was about his money. He was about making money. He was about making more money. He knew the game that if he wanted to make money, he had to help other people make more money. It's about him getting rich and helping other people get richer. So that's why Diddy was exalted and Pac wasn't. You didn't hear Pac always talking about money or talking about how much money he had or how much money he could get. He was saying that, he helped people. He helped his family. He gave away cars, so it don't seem like he was led by money. Anybody that's led and controlled by money, it's a done deal. Tim Dog said Puff reached heights that most people didn't dream of. He said, who needs to play by rules when you're Puff? Puff was the gatekeeper. Then Kirk Burrows talked about the day that Diddy went into his office and took the 25% back. He didn't explain why he took it back. He just came into the office with a bat and some other people, with another person. He said Diddy didn't come into the office aggressively or holding the bat up like he was going to pop him. He just was like, I need this. And Kirk said he wasn't intimidated or afraid of Diddy at all. He said he knew nothing was going to happen to him because he had people, at his disposal that would have popped up, if something went down. But he didn't understand why Diddy was taking the percentage back from him that he gave him. And he said people were like, why did you do that? Why did you, give that up? He said he still wanted to work for the company. So he felt that, he gave up the ownership, but he could still work for the company. Yeah, like I said, I got a lot of questions about Burroughs. A lot of questions about this guy. Yeah, because to me, it's not adding up. It's like either you're holding a lot of things back that you don't want the Gen Pop to know, or yeah, dude, even though you guys are saying all this about Diddy, you guys still hung around him because there was something you wanted from him. If there was something that you couldn't get from him or you didn't want from him, you wouldn't have been around him like that. That's what I believe. Then it goes into Roxanne Johnson, Craig Mack's ex-wife. She said Craig and her, they peeped out Puffy, as they went on with their business relationship with him. And she said that Craig became unenthused. She said they were so busted and broke and strapped for cash that she had to get money from her father. She said there was a time that Mac needed to travel. He had to go somewhere, but he didn't have the money to do it. So he asked Diddy for some cash to help him out. She says Sean pulled out a wad of cash, peeled off $100 and gave it to Craig Mack. Roxanne says she was like, damn, he just don't give a F. She said that they heard that Suge was opening a death row on East Side in New York, and they were scouting Craig. They wanted Craig to come to death row. And she said that Craig was interested in leaving because he didn't like how he's being treated by bad boys. He wasn't feeling bad boys anymore. Then when some things went down, I believe what happens? Oh my God, was it the studio shooting? Something went down. Was it either it was the Pac shooting or what went down at I can't remember what happened. I thought I wrote it down, but something went down after Suge was trying to get Mac to come to Death Row East. Something went down, and Mac was like, "Nah, he good. He cool on it." Now, Burroughs said that when you signed with Sean, he gave you a little advance. He said that's the only money you see when you sign the Bad Boys. He said Andre did the same thing, but Sean took it to a whole different level. He made it worse. He said his artists didn't get paid, but they paid for everything. He said, Sean, when he got into their videos, he paid himself. And it seemed like Sean, if he could pay you, or if he could charge you for the air you breathe in the same area as him, he would. Remember when Suge dissed Diddy at the Source Awards?
One thing I can say, any artist out there want to be an artist and want to stay a star, don't want to have to worry about the executive producer trying to be all in the videos, all on the record, dancing, come to Death Row.
When Suge said that, this is how I felt.
Why would she say that?
Man, that clip felt like yesterday. It was like I was sitting there looking at the awards show and nobody expect, somebody to go up there and openly diss somebody. It's usually smiles and fake hugs, like everything cool on the outside, right? When he got up there and said that, I was like, no, he did not say that. I felt embarrassed for Diddy. Kirk said Diddy knew how to put on a facade in public like he was cool, just the average gentleman, right? But he wasn't going to stoop down to Suge's level. But he said Diddy remembered everything. He remembered every slight. He remembered every time someone did wrong to him. And he always retaliated. He said one day they were at a club. It was Suge, his boy Jake, and it was Diddy and some other people. He said they were all standing outside of the club, and this guy just came out the blue, stood next to Jake, and as he has his eyes on Suge, he's pow-powing Jake. Suge grabbed Diddy and put his arm around his neck like, using Diddy as a shield, was like, if I get it, you gonna get it type thing. And Diddy told him to chill, like nothing was gonna happen. Kirk said that is how the East Coast, West Coast drama started. Kirk said Biggie never wanted to be an enemy to Pac. He said, but Diddy kept pressing the issue. He put a battery in Biggie's back. Then Pac, when Pac came out with that diss track saying he effed Faith, that's when Biggie had to step his game up. And then it just caused bloodshed. D1 comes in the picture. D1, he said he was a member of Mansfield Hustler, aka Mansfield Gangsta Crip. He was asked if Diddy asked the Crips to be their security guards. D1 said they were all friends. He said if we hung out together, we was gonna have your back. They didn't hire Mansfield Crips to be their protection. He said, but if you got beef with one of them, you got beef with all of them. Then they showed a clip of Diddy being asked if he hired Crips to be their guards, and Diddy said no, he would never do anything like that. Like basically that wouldn't make any sense. That wouldn't make any sense, hiring gang members to be his guards. Which in reality, yes, it would make sense, because you can go wherever you go, you can have beef because you got Crips or you have Bloods as your security guard and in the rival gang in that territory, but I'm like, yeah, okay. Then they went into how, I think it was D1 explained how he met Diddy, and he met Diddy through Zip Van or Van Zip. And I did a video. It was a video talking about how Oprah gave Diddy a cover. Basically, Oprah made Diddy, after, was it the club thing? Oprah did an interview with Diddy and let him explain what happened and profess his innocence. And then that is what helped propel Diddy to newer heights. Because once you were interviewed by Oprah, you were given a green light to everything. So, Street King, Jackie Jasper, he met Van Zip, and Van Zip shared with him how he felt Diddy ghosted them after he became, when he grew to the next level fame, he ghosted the dudes that helped him in the streets. So you guys should check that video out. D1 talks about how they got hooked up with Diddy through Van Zip. Then it cuts back to them talking about how people speculated that Diddy hired Crips to be their guards. Burroughs said that Diddy told him why or how they linked up with the Crips through Van. He said whenever they go to LA, they were straight. They was protected because they had LA Crips protecting them. And then, they had beef with Suge, who is Blood or a part of the Bloods. Tupac cousin said he believed Diddy gave the order to jack one of Death Row members' chain, which caused the whole debacle in Vegas. They snatched the guy from Death Row's chain, and then when they saw Orlando Brown in Vegas, the guy pointed him out, and then that's what caused the fight. And then he said that he was in jail at the time that this went down. And when it was reported that Tupac was killed, he said it was some dudes in prison that was celebrating that he got killed. And he said it took all the power he had not to take some of them out or be taken out. And then it jumps to Burroughs saying that he believes that Sean had a lot to do with Pac being unalive. That's what Kirk Burroughs said. Then they had a clip showing Keefe D discussing how he got linked up with Diddy, and Diddy is the one who gave the orders to take Suge and Diddy out. He said that it was a 2008 tape. It was called the tape was called a Profer. It was arrangements for Keefe D to be recorded by the police department about his involvement in the death of Tupac. He said Keefe D said that he got linked up with Diddy. Diddy asked could he use his 64 Chevy in a music video. He said it was a music video with Usher, and he said that Diddy allowed Usher to dance on top of the Chevy and messed it all up, and Diddy had to get it fixed. During the 2008 interview with Keefe D with the police department, Keefe D explained how Diddy came out saying he wanted Suge and Pac taken out. He said it was just crazy how he announced it. He was like, yeah, he want them taken care of. And he said Diddy was in a room with Harrell. It was Zip there and about 40 something Southsiders. And he thought it was just wild that Diddy just boom announced this to a room full of people. The police asked Keefe D, was this after Suge's homeboy Jake was killed? Keefe D said yes. He said Diddy was scared that something was going to happen to him. Keefe said he was scared to death. Diddy told Keefe D that he needed to get rid of these guys. Keefe said he would do it with no problems. So yeah, that's weird, right? Now that it took me going over these notes to think about it. It was like it was a police interview that took place in 2008. Keefe D Davis claimed that Sean Diddy Combs offered $1 million to take Tupac and Suge out. So my thing is, if he admitted that back in 2008, why did Keefe just get arrested, a year ago? Okay, that's weird. All right, let's go on. When they were in Vegas, Zip told Keefe D that they had the perfect opportunity to do the job. Zip drove the car to Vegas, the white Cadillac. It was a secret compartment in the car to hide the hot one. Keefe D said they were on their way to the club, and they didn't even realize they were side by side with Suge and Pac until some girls saw them. They were on the street and they was yelling at Pac, trying to get his attention. And that's when they looked and noticed that they was by him. So they said that they started firing in the car. And Keefe D said after they fired in the car, they pulled off and they were still on the block when the cops came. And they said they was standing at a distance watching the whole thing. And so I was like, damn, that was cold. So he said they were supposedly paid $500K. They never got all of it because they said that Diddy was like, y'all only got Pac. Detective Kading, who worked on the case, he said that Keefe D and Diddy are the last men standing that could be held accountable for Pac's unaliving. And then after, they put in a text on the screen saying that after the interview, Keefe D alleged that he gave the interview under duress. And so he was denying any involvement in Tupac's unaliving. Burroughs said that they were warned not to go to L.A. when they for the party that Biggie them went to, where he ended up getting killed. They were warned not to go, but Sean pushed it. Kirk said the day of the event, the day that Biggie was unalive, they were supposed to fly to UK. Kirk and Biggie were supposed to fly to UK. They had some project going on. So he said that morning he called Biggie to wake him up to see if he was ready to go. Biggie told Kirk that Sean had been bugging. He didn't want him to go. And he wanted Biggie to stay in LA, but Biggie said he wanted to go. So later on that day, Diddy told Kirk to cancel it, that Biggie wasn't going. And Kirk said Sean wanted to throw a party in enemy's territory. And then I'm going to insert this clip of Biggie Smalls saying that he was scared to death. But like I said, I don't know if any of you guys heard listen to the short I did a couple of days ago, they said Touré, he's a journalist. He's been a journalist for years, followed hip hop and the black community for years. He's a black advocate. He said he did that interview years ago, 94, 95, and what Biggie said had nothing to do with the music industry getting him being scared that he was going to be taken out by someone in the music industry. He said that had to do with the lifestyle he lived in the street. And he said that, you know, the way they put that clip in there, it seemed like it was related to what happened that night in L.A.
Once I realized, I think somebody's trying to kill me. I'll be waking up paranoid. I'll be really scared. I'll just be paranoid. That's just the way I am. You know. You see me? Scared to death.
D1 said Big and Diddy hung with D1 Mansfield Crips, and he wanted Big to know that he couldn't just be walking around in LA all free like that. Cause he was like, you know, LA about that, you know, they about that life. If you got issues with them, or they feel like you diss them, or you harm somebody they know that's close to them, they gonna get you. Detective Craig Kading said Diddy was stonewalling after Biggie got shot and unalive. Diddy was stonewalling the investigation. He said he did not help with the investigation. He kept people from talking, and he speculated that if Diddy knew that if they solved Biggie's death, then they would be able to solve Pac's death. So he speculated that that's why Diddy was stonewalling the investigation. Kirk says Sean said that they were going to have the biggest funeral in New York. But when Sean saw how much the funeral cost, he charged the funeral to Biggie's estate. Now that's cold. I can't fathom what kind of mentality you have to be that cold. But hey, if the allegations are true that he did have Biggie, he was a part of Biggie being taken out, yeah, it makes sense, right? He was so cold, he wasn't even gonna play it off like, hey, I got the bill, don't worry about it. He was like, I'm not paying for nothing. And then I also did some videos unaliving of Pac and Biggie and how it's connected, and it was FBI got a hold of some FBI files and documents talking about who was involved and who was speculated to be involved. Yeah, check them videos out too. Diddy wanted Biggie's original agreement that they signed together. He wanted to change. He wanted to remove some things and have some new agreements added to the contract or agreement, and Kirk said he refused to do it. He said, nah, he ain't doing it. He ain't changing nothing like that, because what Sean allegedly wanted changed would have benefited them solely. And Kirk said, nah, he ain't doing it. He said 90 days later he was fired. By observing things that has been reported about Sean Combs and things that were speculated, rumors that were said years ago, it seemed like to me Diddy was trained by people who showed him how to screw the hell out of everyone he did business with. My question to you is, who is versed on business in this country? Who has the skills and the knowledge? Who creates the policies and regulations? Let's go on. Let's jump to episode 3, called Official Girl. Now, it starts with Nat King Cole track playing Nature Boy. And then it has, you know, like it's not a montage, but it has like a visual of Sean and things going down. It wasn't, you know, him dancing, talking, whatever. And that track, you have to see it to understand what I'm saying. That track goes with him, and it's kind of like, I don't know if the song is sad, or looking at Diddy and hearing about all the things he was involved in. It's a sad feeling. People see him as a monster, But the whole situation is sad. It's sad how he treated people. It's sad what caused him to be the kind of person he is. Like, because you think about it, he didn't have to be this way. It's just sad. But whoever was in charge of the music in this documentary, they did an excellent job. Kirk went on to talk about, he said Misa would come to him often asking him where is the money that Puff is supposed to have for their child. At the time, I guess Diddy wasn't giving her anything, and he was trying to get with Kim. Kalani said Kim was not to be played with. She was like, don't play games with me. And check this out. You notice that every time someone died, like I said, Sean seemed like he blew up. He would become more famous. Mark Curry says Sean blew up even more after this track came out called Come With Me. And even though Curry was behind the track, Sean got all the credit. They revisited the club shooting. Diddy and Nas did a video, and there was a scene of Diddy being nailed to the cross like Jesus. Hezekiah Walker warned Diddy not to do it. He was mocking. Hezekiah Walker told Diddy he was mocking Jesus Christ. Diddy listened, and he told Steve Stout that he wanted to have that clip removed. Stout refused, and then that's why Diddy allegedly went to the office and put hands on Stout. Stout ended up settling out of court. He got $500K. I would have got more than that. And he asked the DA to drop the charges. Curry said he and a lot of artists felt like they should have just had a regular job and not even do music. At least they wouldn't have had to deal with court and dying. He said people was tired of being around Sean. And a lot of people left, and Jennifer broke up with him. Tim Dog said he dipped out. He said it was either fight or flight, and he got tired of the chaos. 2002, making the band. Bab said when she was elected to take part in making the band, they gave her a stack of papers about yay high. They told her she had 24 hours to look over the documents and sign it. Bab said she let her attorney look at it, and they simply told her, her attorneys told her that they're offering you fame without the fortune. She signed it. Making a Band will become the #1 black show on MTV, who mostly cater to a predominantly white network. They asked Bun, the ex-security guard, who got the worst treatment out of the Making a Band members. He said Aubrey. Aubrey said that she was asked to cross lines that she shouldn't have crossed as an employee. She shared graphic emails that Diddy sent her along with DPs. And she said that someone contacted the DA telling them that they witnessed Aubrey being assaulted by Sean and another man. And they said that Aubrey appeared to be out of it. She was lying on the sofa on her back. Diddy was at her, how can I say this? Diddy was at the bottom, not her anus, but he was penetrating her. And then the other guy had her mouth. You got, I'm sure you understand what I'm trying to say. So I forgot, I don't remember if Aubrey talked to the woman or the woman emphasized that she knew that was Aubrey, because Aubrey was saying that, could the woman have been mistaken? Is she sure that she saw Aubrey? Because Aubrey says she does not recall this at all happening to her. And the woman doubled down and said, yes, it was Aubrey who she saw being assaulted. The woman was willing to go on record saying that she saw that. What happened was the woman was meeting her guy at the facility, taking care of business that didn't have to do with Diddy, and she was looking for a restroom, and she went around looking for a restroom in the building, and she opened the door, and that's what she saw. She didn't say that they saw her, but she said she saw them. She said she told her dude what she witnessed, and the dude told her mind her own business, and she went on minding her own business and went off with her friends. I was like, wow, that's just, you just wiped it out your head, huh? I mean, you claim you saw this woman getting assaulted, and you just, oh, okay, well, hey, girl, you ready to go? I wouldn't have been able to function. And then if this dude is my man, and I tell him what I saw, and he told me to mind my own business, we would be done. We over. Don't call me, your cold-hearted coward ass. Even if he had said, what? Even if he didn't go see it himself, and he said, well, you know what? You sure you saw what you saw? Yes. I know what an assault looked like. She was not even functioning. She wasn't even feeling fully there. You could tell she was out of it, like she was given some kind of dope or something. And he was like, you know what? Let's call the police, and we're going to stand here and wait. If he just did that much, even if he didn't go and try to run and be a superhero, I would have respected him so much more than saying, mind your own business. Okay. Kalani was asked how it was done towards Diddy. She said it was weird. She said, to me, she implied that Dunn tried to do things and say things that she felt Diddy, somebody his stature, someone of his stature would like or be interested in. Like she wanted to be with this guy. That's the impression I got. That Dunn wanted to be with him, and that she said she couldn't be with him like that because he was with Cassie. They went on discussing Cassie and Diddy, how they connected. Bun said all he knows is that Ryan was there with Cassie, and they were, talking to Diddy about a possible career. Next thing you know, Ryan wasn't there anymore. Then Cassie signed a 10-album deal. He said, how does that even happen? Bun said Diddy was skilled in waiting and getting what he wanted. That he just watched you, analyzed you. He said that after he and Cassie came together, Diddy was hooked up with Ciroc. Ciroc offered him $100 million bonus if Diddy could help them sell $1 million cases a year. If Diddy could help Ciroc sell 1 million cases of their beverage a year, because at that time, before they brought Diddy on, they were only selling 40,000 cases a year. And Diddy was confident that he could do it. Bun said that when Diddy first hooked up with Cassie, Kim didn't know anything about it. He said that they saw Kim as the wife because Kim had children with Diddy, and they saw Cassie as wifey. He said Kim was always like, okay, after she realized what was going on between Diddy and Cassie, she was like, Bun said that Kim's attitude was like, when Diddy would ask her to do something or whatever, she would be like, ask your B to do it, or where's your B? He said Diddy wasn't even tripping off of Kim's attitude. My thing, when I was thinking, since this has come out about Kim, Cassie, I remember back in the day, before social media was a thing, before YouTube, all that, Instagram, you would get your news by Entertainment Tonight. Like I said, Entertainment Tonight would be an evening segment where they would tell you the latest things or gossip happenings in the entertainment field. And I remember I used to hear people, I can't remember how do we used to hear this? It could have been when YouTube, because YouTube first came out in 2006, I believe. And there were people on there talking about celebrity gossip or whatever, but people will always be saying, I think that's why I used to hear it on YouTube, because we were told about YouTube. YouTube came out in 2006, and we created a YouTube account in 2007. So we were on YouTube a lot, looking at videos, uploading videos, what have you. But there would be people on there discussing celebrities, Hollywood entertainment, and a lot of women, black women in particular, did not like how it appeared Kim was being treated. Like, they felt like Kim was the woman. She was with Diddy all those years. She had children with him, and then here come Cassie. So they used to discuss that a lot. A lot of people did not like that. 2009, they talked about Clayton Howard, former sex worker / gigolo. He was talking about how they got hooked up. Cassie called him and made arrangements for them to meet. He said their sex acts were heavily regulated by Diddy. Cassie would ask if she could give Howard fellatio. Diddy would tell her she could. He said he got paid $6,000 for 2 days of sex. Every 2 or 3 weeks, he'd visit them, and this went on for like 8 years. One day, he asked them, because they would collect his semen. He asked them why did they collect it. Diddy said he loved to see Cassie play in it and drink it. Diddy said, what's wrong with that? The guy said, to each his own. And he said after that, they stopped collecting it. And I was like, what the... I don't know any man that would... Okay, I'm not even going to go there. Because there's not too many men would do what Diddy is alleged to have done. Not too many men who don't have whatever. I don't even know what kind of issues going on. I don't know if Diddy allegedly did the things he did because it's a sexual ritual, issues with sexuality, mad at women, hate women because of what his mom did. It's like, wow, anyone who becomes his therapist, you got something that you got to work with. He said, Howard said Diddy didn't really, in the beginning, didn't participate in the sex acts until some years later. Howard was perplexed. He wanted to know how they were able to have sex for so long. Then Cassie introduced him to e-pills. After that, he said they were able to have sex 2-3 days nonstop. Kirk Burrell explained what he says caused Diddy to get hooked on dope. He said that prior to that, Diddy didn't drink, he didn't do drugs, but he ended up having some kind of laceration on his arm. They don't know how it happened. They don't know if he did it to himself or if somebody else did it, but he ended up having to get some prescription pills, and it was on and popping after that. Howard said one day after him and Cassie had sex, Diddy complained that it was too short. And he advised them to he told them to keep it going. Cassie said she couldn't. She had other things she needed to do. Diddy said, B, this is your only job. He said one day he met them at the London hotel. He described a time when Diddy was violent with Cassie. Cassie offered Howard a drink. Diddy told her not to give him anything. She ignored it and gave it to him anyway. Howard was trying to give him a drink anyway. Howard said he heard glass shatter, and then he heard the door close, and Diddy was like, oh shit, she left, we gotta go get her. And I'm thinking that's the day that we saw the video, the horrific video of what happened to Cassie. Howard described a time when they were at Miami Beach. He said they were having sex. Diddy got upset, jealous. He jumps on top of Cassie and started going. Diddy saw Cassie give Howard a smirk, and Diddy said, B, what the F you laughing at? Is his dick bigger than mine? He hauls off and kicks Cassie. Howard was like, what the F you do that for? Diddy stood up and said, you ain't gonna do nothing. I guess Howard didn't, because he didn't say they ended up fighting. Police came, nothing. I guess he was like, well, I guess I ain't gonna do nothing, and kept it moving. So he didn't say what happened after that, but he just said, Diddy said you ain't gonna do nothing. What was interesting in a messed up way was how Bun was talking about Diddy hung out in Harlem. Diddy was hanging out in Harlem before he was arrested. He said Diddy knew the world basically turned its back on him, but he knew that he was hoping that he could get back into the good graces of people in Harlem, black people. And he said that Diddy was always uncomfortable being around black people. And then they showed a clip of Diddy hanging out in Harlem. It was some guys riding down the street in their motorcycles and quads, and people stopping on the street talking to Diddy, and handshakes and hugs. Then when Diddy got into his car, his vehicle, he immediately asked for hand sanitizer. This is what you see in the clip. When he got in the SUV, he was like, "Where is the hand sanitizer?" And he was like, "I gotta go home and take me a hot scalding bath with peroxide," because he was talking about interacting with all those people. A point of me, I get it, especially the hand thing. The things you see people do in public, and then you have people that brag about not bathing regularly. It's like, why do I want to touch your hand? But it still was kind of like messy. I was like, damn. It jumped to a clip of Kehlani saying that Cassie finally realized that Diddy wasn't going to have a child with her, and it wasn't going to be more than what it was. Then they inserted an audio clip of Diddy saying that he was never a good boyfriend. He wanted his cake and he wanted to eat it too. He said he's sorry, but he wasn't sorry. I'm sure when he was with these women, he let it be known what he was about. It's called Making Choices, folks. Episode 4, Blink Again. It starts with Capricorn Clark talking about how she became Diddy's assistant. He was looking for an assistant. She got the job. And he somehow found out that Capricorn Clark knew Suge, knew Suge through Suge's girlfriend. She said Suge's ex-girl, they're still friends, are best friends to this day. But Diddy found out that he knew somebody that knew Suge. And he took her to the park one day and told her that this is how it's going to go down if you mix anything of mine with Suge. That she was going to be unalived in Central Park. And then it goes to Lil Rob describing how he got hooked up with Diddy to do the Love album. And he got chosen because Diddy had a writer's camp, and out of all of them, Lil Rob was chosen to help write the album. And also he said that what helped is that he played various instruments as well. The issue I have with Lil Rod is how he alleges, things that took place between him and Diddy. He said he would wake up some mornings with Diddy laying next to him, or a woman naked laying next to him, and he had no clue how it happened. These situations would happen repeatedly. He was being penetrated annually, and my thing is, how many times do you have to wake up realizing that something is not right before you make moves? Like, the first time would have been enough for me. Like, I woke up and I don't remember what happened. And then I have these grown people laying next to me naked. And then my anus is feeling like it had just been bulldozed. And I'm going to stay there and give you an opportunity to do it to me again? See, that's what I'm saying. People allow things to happen to them when it comes to money. My question is, are a lot of you guys saying these things about him because the money ran out? He promised you something, he didn't give it to you? Why did you guys take so much off of this man? Why did you allegedly take so much off of him? That's the question I have. There's some people you don't even have to do anything to them. They can suspect that you're trying to do something to harm them, and they're gone. But you guys literally was around this man for months, for years. You heard about it. Like one of the women that dated him after Kim Porter died, she said they met each other at a bar. He was at a bar and she was at the bar, and someone close to her died, and then he was just experiencing the death. It was right after her funeral, Kim's funeral, and they both connected because of grief and sadness. She admitted to him that she heard about what kind of person he is, yet she still ended up having a relationship with him, and she alleges that he assaulted her. So I'm like, when do you guys draw the line? Okay. I gave this analogy before. It's like knowing that, the yard you're about to go into is a dog in it. The dog bites, but you still go in the yard. No kind of protection, nothing. You don't even have a branch that you could use to defend yourself. Oh, boy. Then I want to play this clip right quick of big homie CC, what he said about Lil Rod.
I think Lil Rod was in a relationship with him. He carried himself like a scorned girlfriend. You see, you peep that vibe? Cause look, bro, he a grown man, bro. That's a relationship, it sound like to me.
Who ain't in a relationship with Diddy? Anybody Diddy have?
Let's be real. Hold on, Joe. Hold on, Joe. Folks' grave. You waking up day after day.
Yeah, and you stay
with the sore cakes, and you got Diddy right there just looking. Goofy as hell. Watch out, Joe. You stayed over there.
Okay. Come on, gang. Listen, he been like.
Bro, this gotta stop, bro.
It been stopped.
A lot of people just need to live in their truth.
But what Diddy doing? Everybody do to act like it just started with Diddy. It's an industry thing.
That's y'all shit.
No, the industry, all they do, everybody, it's a normal thing. It's rituals. They have sex, gang, and it's a normal thing to do, right? But everybody act like it's something bad when like Diddy get caught and R. Kelly go to jail. But they been doing. They still doing.
The man woke up several days.
Well, the first day you looking with your ass cakes hurt, you supposed to leave.
You supposed to get up out of there.
The second day he knew what was happening. He went sleep. I hope my ass wake up hurting tomorrow.
You going back to sleep.
Yeah.
And Lil Rod said that Diddy and his son Justin will go into a room together and have FOs with multiple women. And that is like past disturbing. I remember I saw a picture online of Diddy and Justin, and they didn't have a top on. Their upper body was exposed, and it was like they had the sweat glistening from their body. If you look at their eyes, you could tell they were out of it. And when I saw the picture, I said to myself, if I could find it, I'm put it in here. When I saw the pictures, I said to myself, I know the hell y'all wasn't doing a FO together. I was like, ugh. I saw the two jurors that they had in the documentary. They were it was quite interesting what they said, how they made judgments. They were asked, did they feel that Diddy was, abusive or did the things he was being accused of doing? And the Indian juror said that he saw that they were in an intense relationship. I'm paraphrasing it. He said that they seemed to be in love. Their relationship was very interesting. They were overly in love. She wanted to be with him. He took her for granted. It's like both of them were, both hands are clapping together. You need both hands to do that. And he said that what was confusing to him was, even though, after the hotel situation incident, they still were communicating. They still would go out on dates. They showed the text messages that were sent between the two after the hotel incident. So he said that was confusing to him. Then the other juror, the black juror woman, said that as her was, if Diddy was abusive, she said, yeah, according to that hotel video, yes, he is. But he wasn't in court for being for domestic violence. And then I expressed multiple times, how could you have a RICO charge and nobody else is a part of the RICO? This one man you cannot have a RICO case with just one individual. Usually when there's a RICO case, it's multiple people involved. Because in order to be RICO, it has to be multiple people involved. I didn't see anybody else involved. So how can you bring these RICO charges against him and one man? Do you know what RICO charges are? It's an enterprise. It's an illegal. You're operating an illegal enterprise, and it's going across state lines. Then I was saying it with the text, where he was explaining that he was a little confused. I said, what would have got him? What would have worked is if they showed text, or there were text messages of Cassie, like when he was texting him after the fact. When he texted her after the fact, she could have been like what? Like go periods of ignoring him, and then he would show it through text, like, why are you ignoring me? I text you 100 times, you ain't said nothing. And then she'd be like, well, what do you want? What do you expect me to say to you after what you did to me in the hotel? That would have been like boom. But hey, it didn't happen that way. They asked the other juror, the black juror, was Diddy looking at them in court, which he's not supposed to do? And they was like, well, the judge directed him to stop looking at us. She said, but Diddy, he's just one of those people that just has these facial expressions, and she don't believe that facial expressions were used to sway the court. That's just how he is. She said, if you look at him throughout the years, he made those facial expressions, and then they had a montage of different periods of his career, of him doing various things, whether it was talking to people on video shoots, whatever, and you would just see these different animated facial expressions he had. She said there's quite a few times that he and her, by his facial expression, she could tell he was feeling the same way that she felt, and they asked her an example of what was that, and she said, well, during Capricorn Clark's testimony, where Capricorn Clark said what happened, Diddy threatened to take her life, and she was like, that don't make any sense. They both looked, she said, she and Diddy looked at each other, and they both had the same facial expression, and she said that didn't make sense. And Capricorn, they had a clip of her saying, Capricorn Clark saying, that she knew that a lot of people didn't believe what she said. Me personally, with that juror, I believe no matter what evidence they presented to her, she was not going to see guilty. She was not going to see Diddy guilty. That's my impression. I think she was taken in by Diddy. Tisa Tales was in it. Whoop, Tisa Tales. But anyway, Tisa Tales said that she observed the Diddy PR firsthand. She said they approached her asking or telling her that they had transcripts of the court, and they said that she said they were offering to give her a copy of the transcript if she was willing to give narratives to her audience. She says she wasn't interested, but she says she would see them in the cafeteria having meetings with various bloggers and social media people, and she said after that she would notice that these people that his PR team would talk to, when they would go on their platform, she said they would give versions of things that supposedly happened that didn't happen. Tim Dog Patterson said he believes out of everyone who has a gripe with Diddy, he says he feels Kirk Barrows is the most legitimate. He said Kirk helped build Bad Boy. He ran it. Burroughs said that then Kirk came in. This was like the ending. Kirk said that he went through a lot with Diddy, and he was also assaulted. He said that after he filed his suit with Diddy, against Diddy, he was blackballed and banned from the industry. He said he was homeless and was humiliated. Okay, I was looking for the clip where Big Homie CeCe was talking about his speculations of the relationship and the relationship that Kirk Burroughs and Diddy had. I couldn't find it, so I'm going to insert this clip of Gene Deal breaking down what he speculated. And like I said, it felt like Kirk was saying things, but he was leaving a whole lot out. Check this out.
Because Puff used to do, they didn't talk about this, he used to do the building, Daddy's house. Whereas that unsigned rappers, unsigned artists would rap at this place, and it was called The Building on Monday nights. Then he would do the Red Zone on Wednesday. I would have to go with him and make sure that he was all right and take the money to Kirk Burroughs' house after the Red Zone. But I didn't think nothing at the time. At that time, I didn't think nothing of it, that he was spending the night with Kirk Burroughs either every Wednesday night. He got a whole girl at home, but he's spending the night with Kirk Burroughs. He's staying at Kirk's house. Like, yo, all right, cool. Didn't think nothing of it. And then Kirk had made a mention to some people over the years that him and Puff used to wake up and pray together. And in my mind, I know he's talking about saying prayers and all that shit like that. But in my other mind, I'm thinking you waking up with a dude praying? Shit is going on. Then there was a situation that somebody said long time ago in the office. They caught Kirk giving Puff a fellatio in the office. Now that was the rumor that was going around. How true it is, they was lovers. It came out in his lawsuit. He tried to say that Puff was, what he said, sexually assaulting him. But if somebody's sexually assaulting you, how you let them come stay at your house every Wednesday night after the club? I think they were boyfriends, you know. I think, my honest opinion, I think Kirk was in love with Puff to a certain degree. And Puff was using him. Kirk was giving up the bugina to him.
That was one of the things I had a question about. It's just something just seems strange. Actually, before I saw that interview with CC and how he felt about Kirk Burroughs, I was looking at him in the beginning of the documentary, and I was saying to myself, there's something going on with this guy. Something going on with Kirk in his eyes. I just saw it. Overall, many people say they were scared of Diddy. And Joy Dickerson said, powerful people are scary. Kirk Burroughs said Diddy is soulless and he has hurt multiple people. And then it ends with a clip of Diddy. Was it audio or visual? I think it was an audio clip of Diddy saying that he's still in this movie. He knows how this movie will end, happily ever after. My thing is, I say this often, people can't do no more to you than what you allow them to do. And that's what I could just sum up. Some people, unfortunately, put money, status, position over peace of mind. You know, there are some people who actually walked away from a lot of things. They would not give up their soul, dignity for money, for positions or status. And then you listen to a lot of these people who said they experienced Diddy and the ones who still stayed around him. Now, if you can't produce the smoking gun providing concrete evidence that he threatened your life, and that's why you stayed around him for 10, 15, 20 years. If you can't produce that, then I feel like you stayed around him because you wanted something and you put up with what he allegedly dished out. And then when you realize you couldn't get what you wanted, now you talking. These rumors have circulated around Diddy for years. So we just now hearing about it though. Right? And he's the only one. So you're not going to tell us about the other 20, 30 men in Hollywood who do the same thing and worse. You're only going to talk about Diddy. But you're not going to talk about the other people who help show him how to do these things. Or, you know, who are worse than him. Somebody told me there's some people up there who are worse than Diddy. I'm interested in everybody being held accountable. You know that word that people in this country love saying. So only a certain people are accountable? Is that what you're saying? Okay. Well, I didn't know this video was going to be this long, but if you guys rocked it to the end, thank you so much. I appreciate you. And I'm about to hang this up, and I will see you guys in the next video.